Also in action this weekend was a stay busy fight for one Orlando Salido. Orlando, the Mr. Upsetter, Salido, taking on, as I said before, stay busy fight against Aristedes Perez. And it was a pretty interesting fight, for a couple of rounds there. Perez was definitely fighting, trying to become like the upsetter himself, trying to upset the odds over Salido, Mr. Upset Special. Managed to drop Salido in the third round with a nice right uppercut. But by and large, over the course of the fight, it was pretty much mostly Salido doing the good work in the fight. Really just a classy, crafty boxer. Brawler, inside fighter, roughing Perez up on the inside for the most part throughout the fight. Perez, had his moments. There was shots that he definitely landed, of course, but Salido, he takes them well for the most part. Even in that third round, when with that uppercut that he got rocked with and dropped with. He was definitely stunned for about 10 seconds after that. But once Salido kind of got his head back together, cleared his head up, he was beating the shit out of Perez. I'll just put it that way. He pretty much busted up Perez throughout the entire fight until I think it was right before the ninth round where Perez's corner decided to just toss in the towel that he pretty much didn't have a chance and was just taking a bad beating by that point. Was able to land an occasional shot, but Salido pretty much just overwhelmed him throughout most of the fight. Was outboxing him on the outside, was outboxing him, outfighting him on the inside. Salido was still a problem, even at his age and even as a lightweight, which this fight was actually fought at. I think Salido weighed in officially like 133 and a half. And he definitely looked a bit fleshy when he entered the ring. Definitely not in the best of shape for this fight. But, Salido is a guy that has kind of fought down to the level of his opponents by and large over pretty much over most of his career, to be honest with you. But when he's turned it up, when he's turned up against top level fighters, I mean he's done pretty well for himself. I mean, he gave Robert Guerrero that hell of a fight where he won, and then they got turned into a no contest because supposedly Salido had tested positive or something. But then the B sample came back negative, but they never overturned it, and whole mess with regards to that. Of course, later on would go on to upset Juanma Lopez, upset Orlando Cruz, upset Vasyl Lomachenko most recently, and of course, everybody's kind of pretty much, some people are clamoring for the rematch between Lomachenko and Salido. I mean, some people I think are trying to put a damper on it, trying to act like, Lomachenko is beyond that. But as far as I'm concerned, he's not. I mean, as long as Salido is still winning, still putting on good performances, and, arguably deserved to win the fight against Francisco Vargas, who's another guy that Lomachenko hasn't fought. He's still very much a viable opponent for anybody. For anybody in the division, not even just Lomachenko, but for anybody in the division as far as I'm concerned. So Lomachenko should definitely go back and try to basically avenge that loss, as far as the way I see it. There should be no pound for pound discussion for somebody like Vasyl Lomachenko when he has something like that still hanging over his head at all. That's the very least thing that he should be able to do, on top of the fact that he should be fighting the other champions, the Burchelts and the Corrales of the world. Regardless of what it takes to get somebody like Corrales in the ring, or at least, give an offer to fucking Burchelt, for fuck's sake. So that's what I got to say about that. But Salido did his thing. Still very much a viable fighter, even at his age, and with the number of miles that he's managed to accrue on the odometer, so to speak. I'd give him a good chance against just about anybody in the division still. I think he'll definitely show up in much better shape than he did in this fight against Perez. And even in this fight, even though you could tell that he really wasn't in optimal shape, he still did his damn thing. He still just has that muscle memory that he's still a high level fighter. So unless you're high level as well, or unless you have just absolutely bombastic dynamic power, then it's going to be a hell of a time trying to keep Salido off of you, man. He's like just a freight train, just coming at you full steam ahead. Very crafty as well, though. But I think that's pretty much going to do it as far as my review. Not really a whole lot to say about it, other than it was a pretty fun fight, fun beatdown from Salido. Perez made it interesting there for a little bit, but and he was fighting back pretty valiantly for what it's worth. But Salido just was too much for him, just too good for him. Perez really, even with the size advantages that he had, Salido was just on another level, pretty much. So that's all there was to it. But I will drop a link in the description. Check out the fight, pretty entertaining, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.